You can win boardrooms before lunch, yet when someone gets close, your chest tightens. If that feels familiar, avoidant attachment may be running the show in the background. Avoidant attachment is a pattern of staying functional and impressive while keeping real closeness at arm's length. It is not a character flaw, and it does not mean you do not care. It usually looks like warmth in low-stakes settings and distance when emotions get real. You value independence, competence, and clarity, and you feel safest when needs are met by your own effort. In romance, you may prefer parallel play over deep entanglement, long stretches of solitude, or relationships that are exciting but conveniently constrained by travel, timing, or ideology. You pick partners who admire your focus, then feel trapped when they ask for more time, more vulnerability, or more consistency. When conflict appears, you move to solutions and logistics, while your partner asks for feelings and reassurance. You are not cold. You are managing a nervous system that learned closeness comes with cost. Inside, the attachment system is doing exactly what it was designed to do: protect. If early experiences taught your body that comfort was inconsistent, intense, or conditional on performance, it adapted. The brain learned to dampen attachment cues, to downshift rather than reach. Stress hormones rise when intimacy expectations climb, so distance brings relief. You get a clean hit of calm when you step back into mastery, into spreadsheets, training plans, or solo projects. The prefrontal story says you prefer space, while the midbrain keeps scanning for risks like engulfment, obligation, or loss of status. Cognitive schemas form around self-reliance and the belief that emotions complicate decisions. You may admire tenderness in theory and fear it in practice because it seems to threaten your edge or your freedom. None of this is a moral judgment. It is a set of nervous system shortcuts that once kept you steady. In everyday life, the dance has a rhythm. Early dates feel easy because the stakes are low, and the conversations are about ideas and plans. Intimacy ramps up, bids for connection increase, and your body starts to throw off subtle alarms. You stay late at work for a project that did not strictly need you. You answer messages with friendly efficiency that avoids follow-up questions. You reframe conflicts as miscommunications, then suggest a break to think. The more your partner asks for reassurance, the more your system hears pressure. What feels like a reasonable request to your partner can feel like a loss of air to you. The cycle becomes self-fulfilling. Their anxiety rises, your distance grows. Both of you confirm your private fears about closeness. In high-performing people, this can hide behind travel, ambitions, and excellence. You genuinely are busy, and yet busyness also protects you from emotional exposure. Red flags, in this context, are not villains. They are early signals that deserve attention. One is the habit of explaining feelings, rather than feeling them in the room, using rational stories to stay safe. Another is the recurring need to locate fault in timing or logistics whenever the connection deepens, as if the universe is always scheduling you out of vulnerability. You might notice a quick internal eye roll when your partner asks for reassurance, followed by subtle contempt at their neediness, then a cool tone that keeps you in control. On the other side are green flags that do not threaten your autonomy. You feel surprisingly relaxed after a difficult talk, where nobody tried to fix anyone. You can name a feeling aloud and remain seated while it passes, rather than reaching for a task. You catch yourself wanting to share a small failure and do it before the moment closes. These moments do not make you less formidable. They make the relationship sturdier without violating your boundaries. Picture an ordinary evening. A founder finishes a day of winds and fires, rides home with a steady buzz of accomplishment, and opens the door to a partner who has cooked something simple. They ask how the day felt, not what happened. The body tightens because felt means stepping off the podium of competence. The founder reaches for a safe topic, maybe a market update. The partner tries again, a little more directly, which makes the founder's mind throw up a wall of polite fog. A comment slips out about being exhausted and needing quiet, which is true, but beneath it sits the old fear that comfort leads to demand. Demand leads to failure, and failure leads to shame. The partner's face drops. The founder's chest loosens once the conversation exits intimacy. Then guilt arrives late to the scene. The fork scrapes the plate. Nothing dramatic happens. Yet the room holds a small, avoidable distance. The decision point is still open. Move toward, stay steady, or disappear into emails. There is a way to move here without sacrificing your independence. Start by telling the truth quickly and specifically when closeness triggers old alarms. You might say that your body tightens when the talk turns to feelings after a hard day, and that you need a gentle on-ramp, not a shutdown. This keeps you in choice rather than reflex. Then replace global distancing with precise boundaries that name what works. Ask for 10 minutes of quiet on arrival, then offer a real check-in with phones face down. Or set a weekly space where each person speaks without interruption. Specific boundaries reduce the need for escape because they frame closeness as time-boxed and consensual, not limitless. Add a habit of micro-disclosures that are one step warmer than your reflex. Instead of a full emotional debrief, share one sentence about an emotion and one sentence about what would help. Done consistently, this rewires your nervous system's prediction that intimacy equals loss of control. If the patterns feel rigid, the work is still possible and often gentle. Therapy that focuses on attachment can help you notice the rise of tension before your brain explains it away. Somatic strategies bring the body into the room because your body is where the alarm lives. You learn to track microsignals like held breath, tightened shoulders, or the urge to look at the door, and to pair them with small regulation steps. Slow exhale cycles, steady eye contact in sips rather than stares, and brief coordinated actions like making tea together can downshift the system enough to keep talking. If trauma sits under the avoidance, treatment aims to keep choice and pacing in your hands so that healing never becomes another loss of agency. You are not forced to flood the system. You are invited to widen your window of tolerance until closeness fits inside it without crowding you. Performance myths need debunking here. Many successful people fear intimacy, not because they are narcissistic or cruel, but because the same strategies that built their achievements were designed to minimize risk. High control, solo execution, and a tight calendar saved them in environments where softness was punished or ignored. When a partner asks for warmth, the request can sound like a demand to abandon those strategies and, by extension, abandon the safety they provide. In reality, attachment security expands performance. Emotional attunement sharpens perception, reduces avoidable conflict, and frees attention that was previously spent on vigilance. You do not have to choose between love and excellence. You do, however, have to retire a few strategies that no longer serve you in this arena, the way an athlete retires a training habit that once worked and now causes injury. Communication pits are predictable and can be softened with simple shifts. When you feel cornered by a big, open-ended talk, ask for framing that tells your nervous system where the edges are. A request like, "Give me the headline and one detail, then I will reflect it back," keeps you engaged without drowning. When your partner reaches for you with anxious energy, look for the need under the behavior and name it before you solve anything. A sentence like, "You sound scared that this will never change," often melts the charge. When you are tempted to dismiss a feeling as impractical, imagine you are in a board meeting where emotion is data. Then ask one clarifying question. Treat reassurance as a technical skill you can learn rather than an endless well you must fill. Precision breeds safety for both of you. Boundaries are essential, not as walls, but as railings. Autonomy thrives when you decide how you want to love rather than how to avoid pain. You might define non-negotiable alone time and protect it without apology, then turn toward connection when you are present rather than staying half available and resentful. You might keep high-stakes decisions on scheduled ground to avoid the feeling of surprise demands. You might tell your partner that physical touch is easiest for you as a bridge into emotional talk, or that walking side by side helps you speak more freely than face-to-face at a table. Creativity counts as intimacy here. The goal is co-design, not compliance. Let us return to the evening with a different outcome. The founder steps in, breathes once, and says they want 10 minutes to reset. Then a real check-in. The partner nods and turns the burner low. 10 minutes later, the founder names one feeling and one request. Something like feeling overstimulated and wanting a slower question. The partner asks what felt meaningful today, which lets the founder enter through competence and then add a note about fear under a decision. The room loosens. No one had to excavate childhood before dinner. The intimacy is not a cliff, It is a ramp both can climb without losing breath. Small wins like this compound because the nervous system learns that closeness can be structured, safe, and even energizing. If things are truly heavy, get support. If your body shuts down, if you swing from warmth to disappearance, or if conflict turns icy and stays there, working with a therapist can keep the process paced and grounded. If your partner feels chronically alone in the relationship, bring them into the work when it is appropriate so both of you share language and tools. If there is any form of abuse, prioritize safety and specialized help. Attachment work is not a substitute for protection. Support can also be humble and practical. A mentor who models secure leadership, a coach who keeps your experiments accountable, or a friend who will not collude with your avoidance, but will sit with you while you try something new. You can keep your edge and build a sanctuary. The skills are learnable and they do not cancel each other. If this conversation helped, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who might need a calmer map of closeness. Your attention is valuable. When you offer it here, you are also offering it back to the people you love.